we come to LFC Transfer Hub. Rio Ngumoha on the special feeling of making history and being Liverpool's match winner. Rio Ngumoha reveled in the special feeling of earning Liverpool 3 points while making history in the process. At the age of just 16 years and 361 days, Ngumoha became the youngest goalscorer in the club's history by netting the winner in the 10th minute of stoppage time as the Reds claimed a 3-2 victory at Newcastle United on Monday night. The forward told LiverpoolFC.com post-match, "I'm buzzing. I'm so happy to score, especially the winner. A good moment, a special feeling. I'm definitely happy. You just have to come on and make an impact, and thank God that I did that. It was just a proud moment." Ngumoha's cool finish belied his inexperience at senior level, and he revealed his positioning for the goal was down to the coaching he has received. He added, "Normally, last season especially, the academy coaches and even the first-team coaches are always saying, 'Make the back post, make the back post.' The fact that I made the back post is just crazy. When I saw it with Mo Salah, and then Dom Szoboszlai, putting it through his legs, I was like 1v1 and I just smashed it. The fans, I heard them screaming my name, and that's a sensational moment, I would say. But you can't get too carried away with all the noise, like I said, because at the end of the day, I probably do that finish 100 times on the training ground, so it's no different with the fans here. But obviously the fans backing you there, it's just crazy. I'm 16, but I don't want my age to show that I can't play with the older players. I want to prove a point that I can play with not just people my age, but many ages above. But like I said, there are people at the club who are always helping me, and I'm always learning and improving, so I can't complain." On the other hand, Rio Ngumoha's decision to leave Chelsea bears early fruit at Liverpool. Rio Ngumoha's decision to leave Chelsea bears early fruit at Liverpool. The 16-year-old's belief that opportunities at Anfield would be greater than at Stamford Bridge seems to have been correct. There was vindication as well as a place in the Liverpool history books for Rio Ngumoha with the ice-cool finish he swept past Nick Pope at St. James Park on Monday. The 16-year-old has announced himself on the Premier League stage, as every one of his coaches predicted he would, though it is debatable his name would have registered so quickly without a bold decision taken a year ago. Ngumoha was considered one of the brightest English prospects in the Premier League academy system when he stunned Chelsea last summer by leaving for Liverpool. If it was a wrench to leave the club he had joined aged 8, and for a newborn boy to leave London days after his 16th birthday, then the clearer route to first-team football that Ngumoha envisaged at Liverpool was compensation. The dramatic 100th minute winner at Newcastle on Monday, when the teenager replaced Ben Woodburn as the youngest goalscorer in Liverpool's history, aged 16 years and 361 days, justified that call. Chelsea made several contract offers to Ngumoha and were so miffed when he left that they sought to guard against future poaching by banning Liverpool scouts from attending academy matches at their training ground. It is understood that terse words were exchanged at executive level. Chelsea knew what they were losing. "This boy is and will be a top player," the club's former captain John Terry said. For Ngumoha, it came down to pathways. Chelsea have hoovered up some of the best young talent in the world. Would there be opportunities for him? Enzo Maresca gave a debut to the 16-year-old midfielder Reggie Walsh last season, but competition for places is fierce. Chelsea, after all, have just added the 18-year-old Brazilian winger Estevão Willian to their squad, and will bring in the Portuguese winger Giovanni Quenda from Sporting Lisbon next summer, when he will be 19. "A good player who needed to leave," one source said. "He's a lovely kid, but he'd be playing youth football at Chelsea this season." Sources with knowledge of youth football believe Ngumoha was right to leave. One figure, who expects him to rise to the top, says Ngumoha was regarded at Chelsea as less talented than Tariq George had been at the same age. George, 19, broke into Chelsea's first team last season but is likely to be sold before the window closes on Monday. There is a sense the winger's game time at Chelsea has turned him into an asset and that Liverpool focus more on a player's talent and less on how much could be made from selling them. Ngumoha's career is on fast forward. He is not eligible to sign the first professional contract of his career until Friday, when he turns 17. At Liverpool, he was immediately thrust into the under-18s. He impressed and was promoted to the under-21s, where the coach Barry Ludas worked on improving Ngumoha's end product and teamwork. There was also a full debut for Arne Slot's senior side in January, when he started the FA Cup third-round win against Accrington Stanley at Anfield. Ngumoha announced himself at a Premier League and global level on Monday, but Liverpool fans became well acquainted with his precocious talents in pre-season. He stepped up seamlessly, scoring fine individual goals against Yokohama F. Marinos and Athletic Bilbao, while catching the eye with his pace, technique, and improved awareness. He presented a strong argument for the champions not signing a direct replacement for Luis Diaz long before he increased Newcastle's torment at Liverpool's hands. Ngumoha's willingness to learn is a recurring theme among his coaches, from academy level to Slot, who had no hesitation in giving first-team squad places to Ngumoha and Trey Nyoni after their impressive summers. Terry Bobby, Ngumoha's former youth coach at Chelsea, has credited the player's older brother James as a key influence. "I'd start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and finish at 8 in the evening," Bobby said. Rio would be there the whole time with his brother. What stood out was how demanding James was with him. They argued at times, but it always came from the right place. James saw Rio's talent and wanted to push him to reach his potential. They worked relentlessly. Not many people saw that side of it, but it was every single day for years, week in, week out, day in, day out. Ngumoha's receptiveness to new ideas and his grounded character were evident in a post-match interview with LFC TV on Monday. The adrenaline was still clearly flowing after an incredible finale at St. James Park, one that carried the hallmark of champions, but he did not get swept along in the moment. Normally, last season especially, the academy coaches and even the first-team coaches are always saying, "Make the back post, make the back post." The fact that I made the back post is just crazy, Ngumoha said of the goal that made him the first 16-year-old to score a Premier League winner since Wayne Rooney for Everton against Arsenal in 2002. The fans, I heard them screaming my name, and that's a sensational moment, I would say. But you can't get too carried away with all the noise, because I probably do that finish 100 times on the training ground, so it's no different with the fans. Present. I'm 16, but I don't want my age to show that I can't play with the older players. I want to prove a point that I can play with not just people my age, but many ages above. There are people at the club who are always helping me, and I'm always learning and improving, so I can't complain. But Chelsea might. On the other hand, Arne Slot saluted the mental resilience of his Liverpool side after their dramatic 3-2 win away at Newcastle United on Monday night. Rio Ngumoha, aged 16 years and 361 days, became the Reds' youngest scorer of all time by netting the decider at St. James Park with 100 minutes on the clock. The teenager's heroics were required after the 10-man hosts fought back from 2-0 down in the second half through goals from Bruno Guimaraes and William Osula. Ryan Gravenberch opened the scoring in the 35th minute, ahead of Anthony Gordon's sending off on the stroke of halftime, and the Premier League champions' lead was doubled 20 seconds after the interval by Hugo Ekitike. On the game, how do you sum an evening like this up? It felt familiar to me. I think I have experienced a game like this once before since I'm here in England. That was Everton away last season, where so many things happened, where it was complete chaos, where the fans were so loud and so there for the home team, and our fans tried to help us as much as they could. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, and for us to stay strong in that atmosphere for such a long time is worth more to me than when we play every single time out from the back and we have a 4 or 5-0 win. These wins, these mean more to me than when we play good football, because tonight had, for me, nothing to do with tactics or good football. It was a great game to watch, but not because of tactics or good football, but because for every single second of the game everybody was on the front of their seat. On Ngumoha's winner, we needed a goal, but the best part for me of our game was after we conceded the 2-2. It was also their best part of the game. But what I mean with that is I think they got 3 or 4 corner kicks after they scored the 2-2, 15 throw-ins, 112 free kicks. Not as many as I'm saying, but it felt as if it was so much, and the two of them, Harvey Elliott and Ngumoha, were waving because I didn't feel like I could bring them in if we had to defend so many corner kicks or set pieces. They were so close to scoring the 3-2, but we stood strong. Virgil van Dijk, Ali Becker, Ibu, Kanate, they helped us a lot in these moments. And then at last, after 4 or 5 minutes, we got the ball in a neutral position. I think we got a free kick, and I could bring the both of them in. It's of course special for him to score a goal in a moment like this. We know how it feels, as last season we conceded the 3-3 in the 89th minute. And now we were the lucky ones. That's what we were lucky to get a winner over the line here. On whether he was disappointed, Liverpool did not control the second half more. No, not at all. Not at all, because that is what their playing style brought. You cannot control a game of football if every single ball is thrown into your 18-yard box. Every throw-in is a long throw-in. Every free kick they get is a long ball. And they can do both. That's why this is such a good team. They can play out from the back if they want to. They can be intense in their pressing. They have so many quality players. But they also have the quality to play a game like this with so many big players. Of course, it helps a little bit to have an extra man in a set piece, but if the goalkeeper takes the ball, there is no use in having an extra player anymore. So with set pieces, it helps a little bit to have one extra player, but not as much as you would like. It was impossible for us to control the game. When we had the ball, we kept it quite long, and I was hoping for us to do more, to create more, because our attackers were not patient enough. Every time when we were quite calm in the build-up, but then we ended with our attackers, where they should keep the ball longer, and every time they forced a pass, the ball went behind, and then we had to defend a long goal kick again. We couldn't control the game better, but that was mainly to do with their playing style and how hard they made it for us. On Dominic Soboslai playing at right back. Talking about mentality, it is not easy to play as a fullback if you've only been a midfielder in your career. He played there once in pre-season. I think it was against Stoke when we played behind closed doors. But in that game we only had the ball, and now he had to defend a lot. For him to put in a performance like that, you can say a lot about his mentality, as you can about all the players, because this was mentally such a difficult evening, such a difficult place to go to, such a difficult opponent to play against. For us to be able to get a result, let alone getting a win, is a big compliment for the boys. On whether results like this win titles, that is the last thing I think about in this moment, if I'm honest. Winning away at Newcastle, then you definitely need to have quality, especially in an atmosphere like this. Not football quality, because that's not what we showed today, apart from the last goal we scored. That looked a little bit like what I see on a daily basis on the training ground. But to have the mentality to fight here in such a hostile stadium, that is definitely something you also need if you want to compete in the end. Winning is something else, but at least competing you definitely need to have this mentality. And that's what we showed.